Let's chat about my final mix of 2025. Hi, my name is Sarah, and welcome to my channel, which is all about sewing and styling a handmade wardrobe. I've got a couple of repairs and refashions, and also some new makes to share with you in this video. I respect your time, and I'm grateful that you take a moment to watch my videos, so let's just get right to it. The first item I have to share is a repair that I did on my husband's Jutland pants. These are the navy corduroy version that I made him earlier this year or maybe last year, I can't remember. The fabric was from Fabric Wholesale Direct. And he brought these to me because our dog Penny had gotten her paw caught on the cargo pocket and it ripped a hole in the pants, and so I needed to fix them. I'm going to come closer and show you the repair, but if it doesn't show up good on camera, then I'll put in some pictures. But I was able to just iron a little square of interfacing over the hole, and then I satin stitched over it and then stitched the pocket back down. I'm not saying that it's the most beautiful, wonderful repair of all time, but hopefully it'll hold up. And the important part is that he can use these pants again. So that was the first thing that I did. And then the second item was a cosmetic issue. So I had made this must-have cardigan, I don't even know, like 2012-ish, a long time ago. And at the time, I had put some buttons on that were too small for the buttonholes, so I was never able to successfully button the cardigan. They were more like shirt-size buttons. So I'd always wanted to replace them with bigger buttons so that I could button it. So this morning I went ahead and took off the old buttons and put on these. Now these would not be my first choice. I was kind of limited to what I had in my stash. There's actually 9 buttonholes and I only had 8 buttons, so I had to leave the top one off. There's a really good chance that I will eventually order some buttons for this cardigan and replace them again. But for now, I was able to successfully put on some larger buttons so that I can button up the cardigan because I wanted to wear it this week. I wanted to wear it buttoned up and belted. And so I needed to replace the button so that I would be able to button it up. I also repaired a Quince cashmere sweater. Like the neckband was coming separated from the main body of the sweater, so I just used a little bit of sewing thread and basically just whip stitched it back on. I forgot to bring that to show you, but it's not that interesting. But that was another repair that I did this month. So now that I've shared with you all of my alterations and repairs that I've done recently, let's talk about something new. This is the Ready to Sew Julian jacket. It was a project where the fabric was sponsored to me by Minerva, so I received the fabric for free in exchange for writing it up on their website. The outer fabric here is a medium weight railroad stripe denim, and then the inner lining is a cotton fleece. I think it's like a cotton poly blend, but it is mostly cotton. And I've worked with this fabric before. I actually made myself a coat out of it. For sizing, I followed the instructions in the pattern, which said that if you want to be able to layer underneath the jacket, that you should size up 2 sizes from your measurements. So that's what I did. I'm pretty sure that I made a 37 up at the top, and then I graded out to a 39 at the hip. I did make a muslin for this one with only 1 sleeve, and so I was able to figure out that the length was okay. I shortened the sleeves by 2 inches on the muslin, and then after sewing it, I actually shortened it 3 inches on the actual pattern. And I'm pretty sure I did do a broad back adjustment as well. But otherwise, I really didn't need to make a ton of fit changes because it is a jacket that's oversized. It doesn't really need to be super fitted. The sewing of this jacket was relatively simple. It's a really well drafted pattern for the most part, except for one issue that I will get to. I did struggle a little bit with the lining because this lining does have a knit backing, so it's a little bit stretchy, and it wanted to pull out of shape when I was using it. But I was kind of expecting that because I have worked with the fabric before. And so if I needed to, if things got shifted, I did use my walking foot the entire time. But even so, some of the fabric would shift a little bit. And if it was a little bit off at the end, I would just kind of trim it to match it up. Now there was one issue with the sleeve here that I wasn't really happy with on the pattern. So when I went to put the cuff onto the sleeve, the cuff piece was actually a little bit longer than the actual circumference of the sleeve. So on this part here, it kind of hung over a little bit, which I didn't really like. And I did actually go ahead and check. There is a sew along for this. And in the sew along pictures, I'll try to put a picture in it so that you can see what I'm talking about. Even in the sew along, the end piece here does stick out a little bit far from the sleeve. It's not flush. And so in order to fix that, I just simply went into the cuff seam here and I made it the same length as the sleeve and then just trimmed off the extra so that it would be even here. I know that when you button it up, you don't see it because it's on the inside, but that was just always going to bother me if I didn't do that. I also forgot to mention that I used the Sherpa fleece lining for the most part, but on the sleeves, I just used some leftover rayon Dobby fabric that was in my stash so that the sleeves would be a little bit easier to slip on and off. Other than that little hiccup, the jacket was actually very easy to sew and I really enjoyed the process. I wanted to make a jacket like this because I have a ton of chore jackets in my closet, but I don't really have any printed ones, and I just felt like this simple stripe would add a dimension to my wardrobe that I didn't already have. And I really, really like the fit of this, and I like the way that it looks. I've worn it a couple of times since I made it, and it is actually surprisingly warm. So in the photos and clips that I'm showing you, I think it was around 26 degrees outside Fahrenheit, which is pretty cold, but this jacket was actually warm enough, layered over a light cashmere sweater and a turtleneck. And so I do think that it's actually going to be really great for the days that it's not super cold. I can wear it as a coat. But if it is really cold, I can actually wear it as a layer and then wear another coat on top of it. So I think it's going to be pretty versatile. I can probably wear it in the spring, fall, and winter seasons. So I'm very happy with the way that this turned out. No complaints except for that one thing on the cuff, which I was able to fix. So that was one of my last makes of the year. And now let's move on to some knitting. So I did actually finish 2 pairs of socks. I don't have one of them here to show you because I've already mailed it off to my niece with the other ones that I made. I had made her 3 pairs of socks for Christmas. The socks that I knit her were the matchstick socks, which is actually my own design and is for sale on Ravelry and Lovecrafts. I've knit this pattern at least 4 times that I can remember. It's one of my favorites. It's a really good one to use with hand-dyed yarn. And so I will put in some pictures, and I think I took a video of those socks so you can see what it looks like. And then these are the Desert Vista Dye Works yarn. I think the colorway was called Baby It's Cold Outside, and I made these for my stepmom. Once I finish this video, I will be wrapping this up and getting it sent off to her for Christmas. She has always been a really grateful recipient of gift socks. Like, not everybody in my family needs wool socks because they live in a more warm place than I do, so they don't necessarily want them. But my stepmom gets really cold all the time, and so she really likes having hand knit socks. And these are just basic vanilla socks. I actually knit them from the cuff down all the way to the toe, and then I did an afterthought heel out of some leftover Regia solid that was in my stash. I did try to make these match. And so these were my last gift socks of the year, and I really enjoyed knitting them. And pretty soon I'm hoping to start a new project that's just for me. And I can kind of rest and enjoy my holidays and just work on an easy knitting project for myself for the rest of the year, but I haven't started it yet. Before we go any further, I will share with you what I am wearing. This is a cotton hand knit sweater that I made using the Knitter's Handy Book of Sweater Patterns. Underneath, I'm wearing a Keep It Simple Babe tee from Pattern Emporium. This one is out of a chocolate brown. I think it's a cotton modal blend. And then I have on my Abercrombie barrel jeans I did have to hem. And then I'm wearing my Puma OG Speed Cats. So that is my outfit of the day, and if you're enjoying this video so far, I would really appreciate it so much if you would consider subscribing to my channel and also consider giving me a thumbs up because it helps more people find my videos. Thank you so much for your support. Moving on to my next new make, and pardon me, it is a little bit wrinkled because I wore it the other day, but this is a remake of the Jolie Lab Hazel shirt. I made this, I think, in 2024 in the winter sometime out of a cotton denim from Joann. And I just never liked that shirt because it didn't fit me. It was too big. And there were just some things about it that I didn't like. And so I actually ended up decluttering that shirt. But I wanted to give the pattern another try because I always felt like it had potential, that if it fit and if it had the details that I wanted, it would actually be something that I would really love to wear. Since I ended up getting rid of my white cotton shirt, I needed a new white shirt to add to my closet. But I don't have any cotton shirting in my stash, so I wanted to use what was already there. And I had this white viscose that I had purchased from Rainbow Fabrics. And this was a few years ago, and I made a dress out of it, which I no longer have. And then I had this left over, and I had enough left over to make a blouse. So that's why I decided to use this pattern instead of a traditional shirt, because I just think that this fabric would be a little bit too floppy in a classic shirt, and so it was better suited for a blouse. This time around, I went ahead and reprinted the pattern in one size down from my initial make. So initially I'd made the size 36. This is a size 34. I did a small bust adjustment of 1¼ inches, which did also shorten the front by about 3/4 of an inch. I ended up doing a 1-inch full bicep adjustment, and then I carried that all the way down to the end of the sleeve because the first time that I made it, I found that it was just a little bit too tight. I don't know if this happens to anybody else because I feel like it's not a common thing, but I often find that tops and t-shirts are really tight over my forearms as well as my bicep. I think I just have large forearms. So I went ahead and carried that full bicep adjustment all the way down to the cuff. I did shorten the sleeves by 2 inches, and I also did a broad back adjustment. So those are all of my fit adjustments, and then style-wise, I did make a change also in that I lined the ruffle this time instead of hemming it. And I also made it about 3/8 of an inch shorter because the first time I just found that the ruffle was too tall and it was like hitting my chin. So I did make it a little bit shorter this time. I am really, really happy with the way that this turned out. I think that it fits me perfectly. I did try to account for potential shrinkage, and it did shrink quite a bit when I washed and dried it. Because this is viscose and it will probably continue to shrink, I don't think I'm going to put this in the dryer anymore. But I do just really love the flowiness of it. It has a lined yoke and a little pleat in the back here. It's an easy fit, it's relaxed, but it's not as billowy and oversized as it was the first time that I made it. I did go ahead and follow the instructions this time, and I put the elastic in the way that it said, and so you just stitch the elastic to the inside of the cuff. However, I don't really like this method. The first time I made a bias tape casing, and so I think if I did it again, I would go back to the bias tape because I found that when I stitched up the sleeve seam on one of the sleeves, there was a little bit of like a pokey plastic part that was poking out, and it was really irritating my arm. And so I actually went in and I added a little piece of fabric to cover up that seam line, but that actually didn't work because the pokey bit just went right through the fabric and continued to poke me. So eventually I ended up having to just sort of use a pair of tweezers and like pull the little plastic thread out as far as I could and then just snip it off. And that seems to have worked. It's not poking me anymore. But like I said, if I were to sew this pattern again, I would just make a bias tape casing so that the elastic would be completely enclosed and there wouldn't be any pokey bits to bother me. Other than that, I feel like this is almost perfect. Oh, I did go ahead and I interfaced both sides of the collar band because this fabric is so floppy. I figured I would need the extra structure, and I think that was a good call. I'll probably never wear the shirt buttoned all the way up to the top because it's a little bit choky, but I would certainly wear it up to the top with just the top button unbuttoned. I would also wear it unbuttoned a little bit more and just letting it be more of a V-neck. I think that both ways look really good. I also really love the way that it looks layered underneath a sweater with just the little ruffly bit poking out. When I made my video about tops that I wouldn't sew again, I got some flack from people asking me why I kept sewing ruffles when I seem not to like ruffles. And maybe I didn't express myself very clearly in that video, but the thing is, like, I don't hate all ruffles. I do like a certain amount of ruffle every now and then, and I feel like this blouse has the perfect amount for me. It's just a little bit at the collar here and a little bit at the cuffs, and that maybe there's a line somewhere where I just don't want to cross the point where it becomes too ruffly. This for me is just the right amount of femininity. It's more of a hint. It's not over the top. It's not overly girly. And so I think it's just trying to find that right balance for me of what amount of femininity actually works for my personal style and what is too much. So this one's just right, and I'm very, very happy with it and thrilled to have a white shirt back in my closet. I do think that this is going to get a lot of wear probably all year round. The only way that I don't see myself wearing this top that I would wear in my normal white cotton button-up shirt is I don't really see myself wearing it open over like a tank top or something. I think it's a little bit too dressy for that. But otherwise, I would definitely wear it tucked in or with a sweater underneath and the tails left out, or just wearing it on its own. I could wear a vest over it. There's just so many different ways that I could style this blouse. I'm so glad that I didn't give up on the pattern and that I gave it another try. And I actually would sew this pattern again because there's a version that has a Peter Pan collar that I think is really nice. And now that the blouse fits me perfectly, I think I'd be more willing to give that option a try. And I might also just do something different with the sleeve, maybe just put in an elastic casing and have like the bottom part gathered in a little bit, just for something different. But I definitely think that I will revisit this pattern again at some point. So those are my last makes of 2025. As I'm filming this, I do still have a couple of weeks left in December, and I am actually working on another pair of corduroy Jutland pants for my husband. They're basically identical to the navy ones that I showed you, but they're a charcoal gray. I am hoping to finish those up in time to give them to him for Christmas, but I probably won't show it to you because it's just making the same pattern over and over and over again. It's not really that interesting, and I doubt that I'm going to make anything else for myself before the end of the year. So I think that's going to wrap it up for me today. If you want to see more of my makes from 2025, I will put the playlist here so you can check it out at your leisure. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.